What is up, Eagles Nation? Today is a good day as the Eagles got the win against Chicago 22-14. Now, this game was very crucial for both teams as both teams are definitely fighting for their playoff hopes, with the Eagles now taking first place in the NFC East until Dallas plays later today. Chicago's season is borderline on life support. Actually, it's definitely on life support at this point with a 3-5 record. And this was the first Eagles game where all the corners were back, so we are no longer running on backups or practice squad corners, which was a neat thing to see, and was definitely a massive improvement defensively this week. Also, our acquisition from the Browns also had a really great play in the game. That's one thing didn't want to comment on was the whole controversy of Howard Roseman not really doing any big moves, any major moves, so to speak. His only move was to trade for Avery. I think that's the right player. Yeah, Avery. And then not for any other player. So Howie Roseman probably does have a lot of faith in this current team. So let's see if that pays off later down the road. Now, as for the game itself, like I said, this was probably one of the better secondary games all season, thanks to the fact that all the starters are playing. We also had this was definitely, and also a continued change of pace starting with last week too, this was actually another game where the Eagles were not playing catch-up, especially in the first half. In fact, the Eagles did a very damn good job in the first half. It was just more they didn't capitalize on those first two drives when they had to settle for field goals. Second half was a different story as they kind of let the Bears just crawl back into this game, but in the end, it was too big of a climb for the Bears to overcome, and what little small chance they would have had with 25 seconds and no timeouts was all snuffed by by terrible luck for the Bears, but great luck for the Eagles on that botched kick return. Now, as for the actual stats of the game, Carson Wentz had 26 completions of 39 attempts, 239 yards, and 1 touchdown. He had a pretty decent game this week, and he was able to move his feet to keep the chains rolling on some plays, and on other plays where the play was dead, he was able to prevent those plays from being very costly, like trying to force the ball out there or taking a sack and that sort of thing, or rather, taking a sack, getting fumbles and stuff. He would bring it back up to like maybe 2 yards short. Well, negative 2 yards is actually not very good. I would still take losing 2 yards over taking a sack any day. Then we have the rushing game, which Jordan Howard did have a bit of a revenge game this week with 19 carries going for 82 yards. 1 touchdown, averaging 4.3 yards per carry. Miles Sanders did have a decent day too on the rushing, and as again, he was also a dual threat this week on the passing attack as a receiver. Zach Ertz actually had a really good game receiving as well this week, which is actually a huge shock as his numbers have been significantly lower than last season where he had the tight end record. I think that's mainly because a lot of teams this season have been putting double coverage on Zach Ertz. And so he had a game here where he had 9 receptions, 103 yards, averaging 11.4 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown. He also had some pretty clutch catches in this game, especially in that fourth quarter. Alshon Jeffrey did not have a very good game this week. He had several drops this week. It was definitely a down game for him, but he was clutch when it was needed in the fourth quarter with that third down conversion catch. So it wasn't a unsalvageable game for him by any means, but overall it was a pretty bad game for him. Deshaun Jackson was in for 1 play, and then he was out. There's probably some worry that he may have re-aggravated that injury. Thankfully, there is a bye week coming up, so this is going to give a lot of the Eagles players time to rest. The defense pretty much did play a really good game almost throughout. They did give up a few big plays in the second half to the Bears, but they were able to hold their ground in the fourth quarter. And like I said, the secondary did get a huge boost, and it definitely made things better and easier on the team as a whole. this was a very strong win, and it was a much needed win, and it was a pretty sweet win to see happen. Now the Eagles are 5-4, and they have a bye week, which means they're going to be able to rest a lot of these players, and some of the players that have been injured will probably be with us when we go ahead and go into our very next game, which is against the Pats, and you know that one is going to be a tough one. Actually, these next two games are going to be really tough, because then we have the Seahawks right after, and Russell Wilson is just an incredible player. He just really has the Eagles' number whenever they play each other. So that's the kind of game that I'm pretty sure not a lot of Eagle fans are looking forward to, because I feel like a lot of them are expecting us to take the L there, but don't lose hope. I mean, yeah. Now, as for my grades, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give the offense, I'm honestly feeling a C to a C plus. Actually, I'll just stick with a hard C. Just because there were some very mixed things. There were some things I liked, there were some things I didn't like, but in the end, the offense was able to be clutch enough to keep this game away. Or rather, to keep the final drive alive long enough to put the game away with 25 seconds left, in which, yeah. Defense, I'm going to be actually giving the defense a B-. If it weren't for those few big plays that they gave up, like the 50-yard reception, I probably would have given them a A- or a B+, somewhere around that range. But yeah, overall, this is a very strong win, and I'm very happy with the way this team has seemingly improved since that blowout to Dallas, which was, oh boy, that blowout was really something. It put a lot of people in doubt, and yeah, it's great to see that the Eagles are fighting back, and the biggest test of the season is to come with those two games after the bye week against playoff teams with Patriots and Seahawks, and then you have the Dolphins, which don't count any game out, but that's probably the easiest game on the schedule remaining, other than the Redskins. And then all of December is going to be NFC East showdowns, with going to the Giants, then the Redskins, then the Cowboys, and the Giants again. So yeah, December is going to be a gauntlet of division rivalry. And also, yeah, pretty sweet. Now, to end this off, we're going to go ahead and do the fight song, in which you are welcome to join. All right. Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Oh man, it's so difficult to scream when you're sitting down. Whew. All right, go Birds!